Steve Beauchamp here. Welcome back to another episode. And today, I wanted to talk about, just the idea of success and directionality. I haven't really met anybody so far in my life that didn't want to actually feel successful and feel like they were doing the right thing, right? I think we all have this kind of feeling that we're just ingrained with. And, I think the fact that we all want to feel successful suggests to me that we really need to make sure that we have a sense of direction, because if we don't have direction, finding that success might be really challenging, and I think it's quite difficult sometimes to figure out what that direction needs to be. If we haven't spent the time to really understand who we are authentically, right? Like really getting to the core of who I am is going to help me find the success in the direction that I'm supposed to have, right? I'm a fan of reading some of the Stoic and Stoicism literature. Seneca once wrote, "Above all, it is necessary for a person to have a true self-estimate, for we commonly think we can do more than we really can." So I think, just understanding that about ourselves and our human nature, I think it's essential that we understand how to lead ourselves and assess our current situation first before we try to, claim we have success or start trying to mentor others and be role models. I think we need to start from that understanding of who we are authentically before we can really be successful in other endeavors, particularly our professional pursuits. And because really that's bigger direction, right? And you can go years pursuing something that really doesn't authentically connect with you as a person. You end up feeling frustrated. You'll end up feeling, just unsuccessful. And I say this because I've been there. And so I know this to be true. And so, I wanted to talk a little bit about that idea because, principle number 4 in the Dokkōdō says that we should think lightly of ourselves and deeply of the world. And I think that Musashi is really trying to get the point across here that the proper way to look at things is not putting yourself at the center of them and overestimating, our own existence. Because if we do, that can lead us to be completely egocentric and selfish. And, this is something that I think about in terms of my own, existence and how I move through the world. And, I really do my best to put things into perspective, to really think about my, relationship to the world around me. And not just like the world that I know, but the world like is so much bigger than the amount of time that I've had on this planet, right? I mean, it's just so much bigger than that. And so I think it's really easy for us to get lost in the fact that, although we, are individuals, we move through this world, we need to be careful of, just how much importance we're putting on ourselves, right? And so I think that's something that I've tried to, really do for myself. It's not easy. I'm not suggesting that I, would go around being self-deprecating. That's not what I'm getting at. But I shouldn't, understate my value either, right? I think it's important to know that I am adding value to the world around me. And so it's kind of that balance of understanding, how small I am, but then also how important I am, right? So it's finding the harmony of those two things. And I think it's really challenging to be able to find that if you're not connecting to your authentic self, right? And I think from that place is where it allows us to connect with others as well, because they can feel that resonance that we have with ourselves. They're going to find connection to that. And it's kind of like vibrating on the same frequency, right? So when I was, thinking about this principle, and kind of thinking about context around it, kind of got me thinking, it's like, well, I think perhaps it's important to just don't take yourself so damn seriously, right? And don't beat yourself up unnecessarily, and look for natural connection between the situation I find myself in and the world that's happening around me, right? And when I'm on the right path, I'm going to feel it. Like I know I'll feel it because I start creating that resonance, right? It's just that vibration that really shows that I'm connected. And when I can feel that, then I become more motivated, right? To be able to move on to something bigger, perhaps, or just learn how to be better at the thing that I'm currently doing. And so it's about building some expertise in the things that I'm doing, and really practicing and honoring the craft that I've decided to I guess specialize in, and I guess is a way to think about it. But there's something that is kind of sticking out like a sore thumb for me, maybe not so much for you, but there's a gap there if you're like, well, okay, what if I don't have some directionality and I don't know what that clear direction is? Then what, right? Because if you're not able to do that, I think the rest of it becomes really challenging. So if you think about it in this context, when you are spending the time to really figure out that clear direction for yourself, I think you're much more likely to be able to then cast vision for others to want to follow if you find yourself in a leadership position. And if you do find yourself in a leadership position, I think it's really, really important to ensure that you're thinking about it in the context of how can I serve other people, right? The samurai, they lived a life of service. And I think there's a lot we can learn from that idea of living your life in service to others. They have a word in the Japanese language called kokorozashi, which talks about where your heart points, or the heart of the samurai, right? Also has been interpreted as your professional pursuit, right, that you have. And it's meant to evoke like this kind of thinking and feeling like it's something that you're willing to put your life on the line for. And you have to have something like that in order for it to be a pursuit, right? Otherwise, it's just going to be, I don't know, just a thing you do. So one of the people that have like had an influence in my life is a man by the name of Jay Abraham. And he has this quote that he likes to use that I'll read to you. People are silently begging to be led. And the only caveat is that they want to be led by someone they unquestionably feel has their best interests primarily at heart. And so how do you know that you're doing that? I believe is being connected to your authentic self and moving from that place, right? Being connected to your authenticity first ensures that your professional pursuit is going to be one that's going to lead people with their best interests at heart, not yours, right? Which isn't to say that you're not like being concerned about where you're heading, but I believe through service to other people, you find yourself being taken care of. That's what I've found. And, you know, so this is something that's going to take many years sometime. I mean, it's not something that's going to happen overnight, right? Let's be honest. Like the samurai devoted their entire lives to live that way. And, you know, in order for it to really create resonance, it has to be something that has some longevity to it. If you think about a musical note that is like, you know, plucked on a guitar or played on any instrument for that matter, the longer the note is sustained, the longer you have that resonance that you can feel. But once the note is cut off, it's no longer there. It's kind of like that, right? Where the longevity of the work that you're doing has to flow from your authenticity, has to have something that's like meaningful, right? And you know, that can be it can take a while, right? And so that's okay. But it's also important to know that sometimes things take longer than we think they will, or how long we want them to. But don't give in to instant gratification and sacrifice for that pursuit, right? It's like spend the time, put the effort in, and what I've found is that it ensures that you stay connected to yourself, right? Your authenticity. And, you know, I think in order to really get a grasp on what he's trying to say here, I really think you look back at the other three principles first. It's going to help this make a whole lot of sense, right? So from that place of acceptance, which was principle 1, we're able to avoid seeking pleasure for pleasure's sake, which is principle 2. And also will help us avoid allowing our emotions, right, to sway us one way or the other if they're not like fully baked emotions, which was principle 3, which leads us to this place of thinking lightly of ourselves, but deeply of the world, right? And so anyway, that's all I have for you today. I hope that this resonated for you. And, you know, I hope that you're finding connection in the world around you. I would love to hear from you. If you liked what you heard today, consider giving a like or subscribe on the channel or drop a comment. I'd be honored if you would do so. I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you later.